All right, so today we're going to be talking about the most natural human movement. And this person that I'm going to talk about is going to be a display of the most athletic performance that I've seen in quite some time. Quincy Wilson. I'm not sure if you've heard that name, but he just broke a 40-year-old world record in the 400-meter dash. I have to say that it was very fast. I'm a six-time All-American. I ran a 45.9. That was my fastest time in a 400. Disclaimer, I'm not a 400 runner. Or I wasn't a 400 runner. I'm definitely not one now. But he ran a 44.5, so that's almost a second faster than me, almost a second and a half faster. That means he was almost untying his shoes by the time I would have been crossing the finish line. So anyways, why is Quincy Wilson so important to this video topic right now? Well, as I said, he is the most fantastic display of athleticism in quite some time. And the reason for that being is because he is a sprinter. Now, of course, I might be a bit biased because I am a sprinter, but if you think about it, he actually did it with only a pair of shoes. Every other athlete, whether it be a football player, a basketball player, or any other sport, they need equipment to be the athlete that they are. So if you think about this, when it comes to natural human movements, PS, check out our 5 basic human movement series playlist after you finish watching this video. But if you're thinking about natural human movements, all those other sports, they require some piece of equipment, whether it be a racket or a club or anything else, maybe even football pads. You are going to be using these pieces of equipment, and likely these pieces of equipment are going to be the cause of degenerative issues later on down the road. Why do I say that? Well, as I said before, these do not require natural human movements. In fact, you actually have to practice a different way of moving so that you can execute these movements to success, right? Take, for instance, a tennis swing, all right? A tennis swing requires a lot of shoulder if you're not doing it correctly. If you refer back to my 5 basic human movement series, we talked about throwing. Throwing is this motion, okay? So your shoulder is designed to move this way, maybe this way, of course, but it's not designed to take a load across the body that way, okay? So what you do as a tennis player, you could break it down, obviously, if you're a tennis player or if you're a tennis coach, we could break it down even more. But the general basics is that you don't want to use your shoulder, you want to use your hip. So you're going to compensate by using your hip so that you're not using your shoulder as much. So, as I said, that's a general breakdown. I'm not a tennis coach or a tennis pro, but I can tell you what the basic movement is. And that is not an efficient movement or a safe movement for your shoulder to do long term. So back to Quincy Wilson. His stride is probably the most symmetrical stride I've seen in quite some time. And the reason why he has such a symmetrical stride is because he trains asymmetrically, more specifically, unilaterally. And that is the big takeaway from this video here today, is that instead of training bilaterally, instead of training unnaturally, you want to train yourself unilaterally and train your body the way it's naturally meant to move. Now, I'm not saying not to play any sports like hockey or soccer or tennis. Of course, play sports, do what you do. However, I want to remind you that there are 5 basic human movements that we should all adhere to, and we should always train our body to be as efficient in those 5 basic movements. Everything else, icing on the cake. Master those 5 movements first, and then from there, you can get stronger and do all those other fun activities. All right, so hopefully this answers your questions about natural human movements. I've had some people ask me about these different athletes and what they need to do to be who they are, and I just wanted to mention this because Quincy Wilson came up, and I thought it was a perfect opportunity to talk about the most pure of sports. All right, so if you have any questions about this video or any other of our previous videos, I'd love for you to write them down in the comment section. Like maybe how fast I officially ran in my 400 or my 200 time, because I was a 200 runner. Maybe you can put that question down below. Of course, I would love for you to subscribe, because if you subscribe, you'll be notified when our next video comes out. So I'll check you later. Thanks again for watching and listening. And as always, keep good company.
Wow, I like it. That was cool.
Awesome. Hey, thanks.